Throughout history, humanity has turned its eyes to the heavens, searching for meaning in the movements of the stars. In ancient times, when comets streaked across the night sky, they were feared as omens of war, famine, and calamity. Modern science sought to silence those old terrors, explaining comets as frozen remnants of the early solar system, silent relics wandering endlessly through the dark. But sometimes, the sky refuses to be explained away. Sometimes, reality itself begins to tremble, as though the universe is reminding us that it still holds secrets far beyond our comprehension. That is what has happened with the arrival of the interstellar object known as 3I Atlas. It entered our system quietly, an unassuming speck of light gliding through the void. But as it drew closer, the world below began to shake. Within hours, two powerful earthquakes tore through Venezuela, twin ruptures so sudden, so perfectly timed, that they sent shockwaves through both stone and science. Each registered above magnitude 6, followed by a fierce 5.8 aftershock that left buildings trembling and streets split open. But this was no ordinary geological episode. At the same time that the ground convulsed, the skies above erupted in violence. The sun released a massive coronal mass ejection, novas flared in distant constellations, and 3I Atlas responded with pulses of light that no natural comet should produce. Coincidence seems far too small a word for what followed. At 22:21 Coordinated Universal Time on September 24, the first quake struck Venezuela's northern coast. Only hours later, another hit, nearly identical in strength but deeper, as if the planet itself had shifted twice to relieve unseen tension. Meanwhile, sensors across the upper atmosphere detected strange electromagnetic fluctuations. The solar wind had thinned to an abnormally low density, creating a momentary vacuum in the space surrounding Earth. When that pressure drops, the planet's magnetic field, normally compressed by the solar breeze, relaxes and flexes, altering the stresses locked deep within its crust. Geophysicists have long debated whether solar activity can trigger earthquakes. This time, the timing was undeniable. The heavens and the earth were moving together, bound by an unseen resonance that defied explanation. 3I Atlas is not an ordinary traveler. First catalogued as the third confirmed interstellar visitor after Oumuamua and Borisov, it was initially thought to be little more than a fragment of alien ice. But as weeks passed, its behavior changed. Its tail refused to follow the rules, sometimes streaming toward the sun rather than away from it, as though pulled by some unknown magnetic field. When struck by a solar flare, it didn't merely brighten, it erupted, growing 20 times more luminous, as if awakening. And now, each coronal blast from the sun seems to ignite it again, feeding its crimson glow like a pulse synchronized with solar rage. At the same moment Earth trembled, twin novas detonated in the southern sky. V1935 Centauri and V7994 Sagittary. Two stars, light years apart, erupting almost simultaneously, hurling gamma rays and visible light toward us in eerie synchrony with the quakes below. Statistically, the odds of such timing are infinitesimal. For cultures of the past, such alignment would have meant one thing: the heavens and the earth are in conversation. The ancients, Babylonians, Chinese, Mayans, recorded comets, quakes, and celestial flares as parts of one great system. They saw no division between heaven and earth, only resonance. Perhaps they understood something modern science has forgotten. The sun itself has entered one of its most volatile periods in living memory. More than 100 sunspots churn across its surface, magnetic storms twisting like wounds in molten light. Into that chaos plunges 3I Atlas, wrapped in plasma, defying the rules of dust and ice. When the latest CME struck, its tail coiled and flickered unnaturally, and the auroras that followed reached latitudes where they had never been seen before. As crimson ribbons danced over the skies of northern Africa and South America, seismic monitors once again recorded deep tremors beneath the crust. The pattern is becoming impossible to deny: solar chaos above, tectonic unrest below, and an alien wanderer at the center. The coming weeks may prove critical. 3I Atlas is now approaching its closest pass to Mars before a major alignment, when it, the Earth, and the Sun will fall into near-perfect conjunction. In astronomy, such alignments are known to amplify electromagnetic interactions across the solar system. When an interstellar body carrying its own electric charge enters that geometry, the result could be catastrophic. Already, the Martian atmosphere has begun to shimmer with faint auroras, not from magnetism, but from direct bombardment by charged particles. If Mars, a world nearly dead, can be stirred by this passing visitor, then what of Earth, alive and trembling? As the comet moves inward, seismographs around the world hum with a strange rhythm. Tiny tremors flicker across the Pacific, the Mediterranean, even beneath the frozen crust of Alaska. Small, scattered pulses that form a faint but global beat. Satellites monitoring the ionosphere detect bursts of energy swelling and collapsing like invisible tides. The frequencies of these fluctuations match the periodic brightening of 3I Atlas's coma. Every pulse in space mirrored by a subtle quiver in stone. Science calls it coincidence. Physics calls it resonance. But to anyone watching the data unfold, it looks like communication. Even the oceans have begun to respond. Deep-sea pressure monitors have picked up inexplicable low-frequency vibrations rolling through the ocean basins, long, slow waves without storms, quakes, or tides to explain them. The planet's magnetic field, too, has started to flicker. Magnetometers in Japan, Norway, and Canada have recorded simultaneous spikes, sharp, synchronized bursts of energy that ripple through the geomagnetic shield. No solar wind could have caused such harmony. It is as though Earth is receiving a pulse, a signal threaded directly through the fabric of its defenses. Historians have begun to re-examine the old records, the Han Dynasty chronicles of red stars appearing before the ground split, the Babylonian tablets describing fire in the sky followed by the collapse of cities, the Aztec texts that link blood-colored torches with famine and floods. For centuries, scholars dismissed these as superstition. But now, with a crimson visitor burning in our skies and the planet itself trembling, the past feels less like mythology and more like memory. Perhaps the ancients weren't ignorant of cosmic forces, they were witnesses to them. And yet, as the evidence mounts, official silence deepens. NASA's public updates have slowed to a crawl. Telescope feeds vanish from archives. Independent observatories report outages. Even seismic data from certain regions has been withheld. The pattern of suppression is too deliberate to ignore. Behind closed doors, there are whispers of emergency sessions, closed channel transmissions, and quiet panic among those who know what the numbers mean. Sometimes the loudest sound in the universe is the silence of those who have seen too much. The world stands at the edge of something vast and unseen. A crimson light moves through the solar system, its arrival marked by quakes, novas, and magnetic storms. Every system, every element, every force seems to resonate with its passing. The ancients once believed that when the sky changed, the world below would follow. Perhaps they were right. Because as 3I Atlas draws closer, the tremors grow stronger, the auroras brighter, the silence heavier. The Earth is responding. If this pattern continues, if the heavens and the ground continue to move in the same rhythm, then the next wave will not be subtle. The first tremors have already spoken. The question is not when the next will come. It's whether we'll be ready when it does.